Hello, friends. Welcome to another edition of Coach's Corner. I'm your host, Robert Imbriale, and I was just thinking today how long I've been doing this show. I think I started it around 2015. I could be wrong. Around 2015 or so, I got this show started. And, a lot has changed over the years since 2015. And, certainly the direction and what I cover on this show has changed a lot. And today is going to be one of those things. We're going to cover some topics that are kind of, front and center for all of us right here, right now. And, the goal of the show, and you can see behind me, thriving in uncertain times is really kind of the theme now of Coach's Corner because, my phone has been ringing for months now with people who are having challenges, business challenges, personal challenges. Some people are having a hard time keeping their head above water. Other people are just struggling emotionally. They're scared. They're not sure what tomorrow is going to bring. So a lot of the show really started to evolve into, really bringing messages forward that would be messages of hope, messages of, how do you deal with, what's coming at us, because it's coming at us from all different directions right now. I left my office yesterday and, kind of funny, I got here yesterday and gas was at the gas pump locally. The premium gas was $6.79 per gallon. That's quite a lot, right? And when I went home at night, it was $6.89. It had jumped up 10 cents during the day. I thought they only bumped the prices overnight. I didn't know they could do it midday. And today it was $6.99. So, 2 days and it's up 20 cents already. So we can see that, we're running into some challenges. Things are challenging for a lot of us right now. And, I see the impact on businesses. I work with a lot of small businesses. There was another one today that sent an email and effective end of business tomorrow. Companies no longer. They're gone. They're shutting down because sales have stopped to a point where they're no longer fluid. They can't cash flow anymore. And I'm afraid to say that it's going to happen more and more. And, it's going to happen in the coaching industry. It's going to happen to doctors. It's going to happen to retailers, internet marketers. It's going to happen to everyone. The economy only flows when people have money and they can spend the money, not the government spending the money. When you and I spend money, that's how the economy flows. And that's why we always say the small business is kind of the backbone of the economy, right? The reason is because we are the ones who, deal with the individual, and we're flexible and we can do what we need to do to flex in no matter what times that we're going through. We're going through some rough times right now, no question. And, like I said, I spend a lot of time on the phone. I spend a lot of time on Zoom calls and emails and social media. And I'm hearing the stories. I'm getting a lot of the stories. I'm seeing them in my feed, my timeline. And, we're battling this battle. And really what I want to talk about today with you is the battle, the big battle that we're all in. We're all in it. We can't get out of it, right? We're all part of it, whether we like it or not. Or you could say, well, my guy is in power right now and he's the president and, I don't have any problems. I think everything is great. But is it? I was at the grocery store earlier today and I noticed specifically in the, dairy section, there were a lot of holes that I'd never seen before, a lot of product missing. And it was kind of interesting because I'd never seen that. Even during COVID, the worst parts of the lockdown, there was always stuff there. There'd never holes in it. And I was like, well, that's interesting. Then I went in another section and saw again there was things missing on the shelves. So we're all being impacted. It doesn't matter your political belief or which side of the aisle you lean on. We're all being impacted by it. It's there. It's in front of us, right? And now they're talking about diesel not being available, plentiful for the truck drivers. Well, if you take the truck drivers out, what do? You destroy the framework, literally, of our economy. It's like that's how product moves. That's how you get your order from Amazon. Oh, just order from Amazon. Okay, how's it going to get, first of all, to Amazon, right? It goes into the warehouses. It gets there by truck from the manufacturer. And then from Amazon's warehouse, it gets to you again by truck, local delivery vehicle, right? So if those things aren't operating, you got a lot of stuff sitting in Amazon warehouses that can't be accessed, can't be sold, right? So we got to be careful. We got to pay attention to all of it. And, I look a lot on social media, and what I do is I look for, the posts, and people were like, oh, I'm Republican or I'm Democrat. And you can see that this battle is still raging. And one person commented on something I posted on social media today. Well, I hope, the Republicans are involved in this too. And I responded to her and I said, honestly, really, there's only one party, right? There's the globalist party, and that's all there really is right now. The idea of Democrat, Republican, old idea, very old idea. doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. If you look at just what happened with the money that they set aside to send over to Ukraine, the $40 billion that they sent there, we don't have a Republican Democrat anymore. In the old days, it was very close. They're Republican Democrat. It really didn't matter. It was two sides of the same coin. It really wasn't. There were some differences, but not enough to break up families, not enough to ruin friendships, not enough for people to unfriend you on social, right? If you were one side or the other, it really didn't matter. It wasn't that important. Today, that's happening. We're seeing that over and over and over again, and it's really challenging to see that. So my explanation is, forget about it. The idea that there are two parties is ridiculous. It's like they're all part of the same party now. It's all with, a few exceptions, but they're all part of the same globalist ideals, and they're all looking to do the same thing, which is change the fabric of this country and not allow it to be the free country that we've known it and grown up to experience. It's not going to be that anymore if they have their way. So what I want to talk about today is exactly this idea that, we're a lone voice. So if I'm upset about something like this, I can yell in the shower all I want. Or maybe I'm on, my podcast and I talk about it on my podcast. Okay, great. I'm one voice, right? Tomorrow morning, this podcast is going to be on maybe 200 different websites, right? It's going to be all over the place. And there are people who are going to listen to it, but they're hearing just one voice. They're not hearing 20 voices. They're hearing just one. Good. It's a good start. It's better than me just yelling in the shower to myself, right? At least somebody's hearing it, which is great. But it's not enough. So one voice is good. And that's a good place to start, but it's not enough. And the real power that we have, we've always heard the story, united we stand, divided we fall. Absolute truth to that. Absolute truth to it. And what we need to do right now is we need to find the places where we agree. And it's kind of interesting because I have people who are completely different opinion than I do politically, whatever that means anymore today, right? And what I do is I start to look for, okay, where are those common bonds? Where are the things we both agree on? And you start to find them and you realize, man, there's a depth to them. There's so many things that we both agree on. It's fantastic. It's fabulous. And there is very little that we actually disagree on. And there may be a little color of this, a little of that. But for the most part, we're vastly more in agreement than we are in disagreement. And one of the things that is the most important to recognize is that when we are united, we're all on the same page, not on everything, but on most things. In fact, the things that matter, we're all on the same page about it, we're very strong. And when we start to separate and start to go, well, I believe this and I won't talk to you because you don't believe what I believe, that division really weakens us because now there are fewer of you, fewer of us. Right? So now we've got two small groups rather than one big group. One big group much stronger than two small groups, right? Or 50 small groups, as the case may be. And we're seeing that in our society, the division. It's happening in business. It's happening everywhere. People are boycotting businesses because they hold this belief or they hold that belief or they cater to this market. And, companies are seeing their sales cut in half, not just because of a bad economy, but because of belief systems or what they say they stand for. It's a big difference, right? So they become weaker. The company doesn't get stronger having half the customer base. It becomes weaker by having half the customer base. So what we want to make sure we're doing is we want to make sure that we are, coming together and finding those points of, unity rather than the points of division, which there's plenty of divisions, plenty of reasons to divide. But we need to be able to understand that there are actually more reasons to unite. Now, when we're united, we're a united front, we're very strong. There was a story the other day of, the Texas, there were a bunch of locals there that went out and protected a ranch that the government was trying to confiscate. They wanted to close down the ranch and run a highway through or, whatever it was. They wanted to get rid of the ranch and get rid of the rancher, get rid of the cattle. And all the locals came together and they formed a line. They said, no, you're not doing this. You're not coming in here. And sure enough, the government backed off. Right? So you can see examples like that. If you look for them, they're not prevalent in the media. The media doesn't cover that kind of thing. But you can see when we all come together and we say, no more, it stops. You push back on it, it doesn't keep happening. They don't keep advancing, right? And that's the goal here, is to figure out ways that we can come together more and more so we're less divided and we can understand what's really going on. The challenge that we have, I think, if we look at where people are getting their news from, right? It's very divisive. You're getting a narrative here and you're getting a very different reality here. And the gap is so wide that there's no door open on either side for a conversation. I can't talk to you about what I'm learning if I'm not listening to the same news source you're hearing from, because our stories are vastly different. In fact, black and white different, not just different shades of gray, black and white different. One is completely black, one is completely white. There may be truth to both of them. There may be a lot more points of connection, but we're not seeing them because the way it's presented, it's very different. So what do we end up? We end up divided. And I'm seeing way too many relationships fail, families getting broken up. I'm seeing people leave companies. I'm seeing companies kicking their customers to the curb, really, over some of these crazy beliefs. It's ridiculous when you think about it. You say, well, wait a minute. I'm in business. My job is to serve my customers the best I possibly can. That means all of them, not just one or two, all of them. I want to serve them the best way I know how. I don't want to kick half of them to the curb. You know how much it costs to acquire a customer? You know how much work you have to do to create a loyal customer or even a raving fan? And all of a sudden you raise a flag that you have this belief and you alienate half your audience? Yeah, not smart business. I can tell you, that's not the way you want to go about running your business. What you want to do is you want to find ways to unite and find all the reasons that you can reach the vastest, largest amount of audience and, cater to them all. You're not going to make everybody happy. Forget about that idea. You're never going to get to 100%, but you certainly don't want to cut half of the people who already or are loyal customers to you and even raving fans. You don't want to cut half of them out because you decide to pick a side on some of these issues, which are ridiculous at this point to be picking sides on. Well, we know, the truth is coming out on so many of these things that were conspiracies a year and a half, 2 years ago are now proven to be true. They're proven to be factual. So, one thing we do is we jump too quickly to conclusions. We'll listen to one news story. Yeah, that makes sense. Boom, and we're on it. Rather than saying, okay, that's what they're presenting. Let me find out the rest of the story. And I know not everyone has time to do that. I get it. We're busy. We've got businesses to run, families to take care of. It's hard to do that. But we got to find a way to do it. Find someone who knows. Find someone who has actually done the research that you trust and you believe in, and let them share with you the other side of the story. Don't just take one side of it. In any argument, right? There's three sides to a story. There's his side, her side, and the truth is somewhere in between, right? And that's what we really want to look for. You don't want to look at one side or the other. You want to maybe look at both and try to find that middle ground where there is actual truth, where there is actual places where we can unite. And we do that, and I think we're going to be much better off as a society. We're not going to get through this the way we're going right now. Truthfully, everything that's going on, I'm always looking for that ray of sunshine over the horizon. Always. It's what I'm doing. I look for the ray of sunshine over the horizon. What is it? Where's the hope? I'm not seeing it right now. To be honest with you, I really don't see it. And that's not coming from a place of, doom and gloom. It's just I'm not seeing it. I don't see where this thing turns around and starts getting better again. If it continues the way it's going, it just seems to me, it's going to get worse and worse. You may have a different opinion about that, but I don't see it. And I would love, if you have a different opinion, please, let me know. Write to me, email me. Let me know what you're seeing that I may not be seeing, because I'm not all seeing, all knowing, right? I get access to what I have access to, and you may see something different, but I don't see it right now. I don't see gas prices coming down. In fact, I see them continuing to rise. Like I said, 20 cents bump in the last 2 days is quite significant. I mean, that's going to make an impact. I don't see Republican Democrat fighting stopping anytime soon. In fact, it's getting worse. We're getting further divided rather than closer. And I don't know what the event has to be, but always when the pendulum goes to one side and it's way out of whack, there is an event that happens to turn it around and get it going the other direction. I don't know if we're there yet. I don't know if we're close, but I'm hoping to see something soon. I'm always looking for it. I want the best for you. I want the best for all of us. So I'm waiting for that moment. If you see it, obviously, let me know. Let me know what you're seeing, because I'd love to know, what I may or may not be seeing in terms of turning this boat around. I have hope that we're going to get there at some point. I've always believed that no matter how bad the winter is, no matter how cold, no matter how much the wind howls, no matter how much it snows, no matter how much it sleets and freezing rain and high winds and all the rest of it, no matter how bad it gets, at some point, the sun does come back up. The snow starts to melt, and in Canada anyway, you see the tulips are the first thing to bloom. The tulips will pop up. Snow is not even gone. It's this far from the house, and the tulips are already popping up, right? So no matter how bad the winter is, spring always follows. So we're in challenging time right now. We are going to get to that point where it is spring. I just don't see it at the moment, which may mean that it may be, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years out. I don't know. I have no idea, no way of telling. But I know it will happen. So, I have that hope. And it'll happen a lot faster if we stop arguing with each other. Really, if we just get in the point where we start saying, okay, I may not agree with you here. The story I heard is this. You heard that. I don't think you're right. I think I'm right. Great. That's fine. Let's find a place where we do agree. Coffee's good, right? The coffee's good today. How's the sun? I mean, if we can't do anything other than talk about the weather, let's just go there. But there's a lot more we can talk about, obviously. But let's find those points where, we're not in conflict with one another, where we're not fighting, we're not arguing, because that keeps us separate. And certainly, if you've disowned people in your family, if you've disowned employees, if you've disowned friends, or if you've kicked your customers to the curb because they hold beliefs that you don't hold, stop it. We're better than that, right? We're older than that. We're smarter. We're more mature. That's very childish. No point in doing that. It's not like because somebody doesn't believe what you believe that the world's going to turn upside down. Our whole society is built on having, freedom of speech, freedom of belief. You can believe whatever you want, freedom of religion. I don't care what you believe. I honestly don't care what you believe. But if you believe it, right? Don't be halfway about it. Go all in. Believe what you believe. Stand up. The other thing that I'm seeing a lot is people are saying, well, why isn't anybody doing anything? Have you looked in the mirror? Really? Have you looked in the mirror? Because that's the person that has to do something. People say, I wish more people would step up. You do. You know things, but you refuse to share them on your social media. Oh, I might get banned. Yeah, so what? Go on another social media site. Set up a new account. Who cares? The worst thing we can do is stay quiet. And too many people right now are still doing that. They're not stepping up. They're not standing up. They're hearing things. They know things. But they just won't talk about it. They won't bring it up in public. They won't talk about it with their family, their friends, because they're afraid of conflict. If you have conflict with somebody because you share a belief that you hold, probably not a very strong relationship to begin with, right? I have a couple of friends who've left. They were in my circle, and they realized, like, ooh, Rob believes this, Rob believes that, or Rob's seeing it this way, and I don't believe that, and they left. It's okay. At some point, they may come back. They may not. I wish them well. I don't have any ill feeling toward them. It's their really decision to leave. I don't kick anybody out. I've just never done that. But, they have. So we got to speak up. We got to stop being quiet. We got to start talking about the issues. And, I know they're being censored. They don't want us talking about the issues, right? I got to be careful what I say here, right? Just in case, because I'm on YouTube, I'm on Facebook, I'm on all the, on Instagram, I'm on all the platforms that would normally get censored. So I got to be careful about that. But we need to be talking about it. We need to find the places where we all agree, because we all agree on much more than we disagree. Then we got to stop playing the games of pretending that everything's okay, when clearly it's not. How do you know? Go pump some gas. Go to the grocery store. Talk to your friends. Got a friend who has a business? Ask them, how's business? They're going to be like deer in the headlights. Wow, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm hearing that more and more, by the way. It's not just you or me. The other companies I work with as a consultant, I start to see, and when watching the sales, and sales have consistently been dropping month after month, and it doesn't matter how much marketing we do, there's no money in the economy. When there's no money in the economy, all the marketing in the world really doesn't make all that much of a difference. It makes a little blip here and there, but it's not going to make a world of difference anymore. And we're getting to that point where, it's getting scary. So enough with the games. Let's find out places that we agree. Let's get together. Let's start talking. Let's start uniting. Because when we're united, we can't be defeated. Remember, there's a lot less of them than there are of us. And we're all together on the same side. Whatever side that is, we're all together on that same side. We cannot be defeated. Okay? So, keep that in mind. If you think this was valuable to share with a friend, I would appreciate you doing that, because it's more important that this message get out than it is about me. I don't really care about the accolades and the fame and all the rest of that. I'm really looking to get the message out, and that's what this show is about. I want to make sure that message gets out to more and more people. So if it's of value, grab a link, Share it with your friends, followers, put it on Facebook, put it on Twitter, put it on Instagram, wherever you want to put it. It's, it's probably not going to get censored because I've been very careful about that. And, let's find those ways that we can unite. Let's find ways to come back together again, because the division, we're, teetering on the brink of collapse, and we've got to make sure that that doesn't happen, because on the other side of collapse, you're not going to like it. Promise you, you're not going to like it. All right. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Coach's Corner, and June 2nd, 2022. And I look forward to seeing you again next week on the same channel. Thanks for watching, everyone.